Hi all. Um, Wanting to do a Daddy's Disney debrief. My missus is driving at the minute, so I'll do my best to keep my eyes on the camera, but I also can't help but keep checking the road for my own safety. Um, so, just a few key points. Nothing massive here, but I hope people find it useful. We did 4 days, 3 nights in Disney. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. So Sunday day to Wednesday at close of play were our 4 days in the park. It was the week after the big New Year's week, so it was off season, but in and around Christmas time. 2 adults, 2 kids, and we had been to Disney years ago before with one kid, but by no means experts in the matter. There was a good bit of prep went into this trip for a couple of reasons. One, because it's exciting and interesting, and two, to maximize the time when you're in the park. You definitely benefit from having a bit of a plan put together. The reason I wanted to do this video was because even with all that planning and utilizing all the independent reviewers of Disney's advice, there was what I would consider extremely basic information was missing from some of those videos. First of things first, we rocked up into Paris and had a couple of nights in Paris. Flew into Paris. That's neither here nor there. Whether you come and stay in Paris ahead or straight to the airport into Disney, my advice would be use the RER system. Very comprehensive, very easy to use, and very cheap, much cheaper than London or Manchester. We did get caught out though, which made it not cheap. We purchased RER tickets in Paris, came into the RER system. When we came to leave the RER system at Disney, it became apparent that our tickets weren't for the correct zone, and that was a €70 fine straight off the bat. Don't pass go. That was a little bit frustrating. It was our own fault, of course. Have to be accountable for that. But the system isn't straightforward. It's not a tap in, tap out. You actually have to have a paper ticket. Anyway, suffice to say, the sworn agents of the state were stood at the gate, and I think we passed through the gate at a relatively quiet time, but huge group of Americans got caught out, we got caught out, and all the French folk sauntered through because they knew what they were doing. So tip one, get your right RER tickets, or your first of many experiences at Disney will be parting with large sums of cash for nothing. Right, we stayed at Newport Bay Hotel. I wouldn't call it a tip, but we could definitely have improved how we conducted ourselves with our luggage. So we turned up at Disney, got some directions to Newport Bay, went to the hotel at probably 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning to drop off our luggage, or maybe it was a little bit later than that, about 10, and it was absolutely mobbed. So we went to check in, and took about 40 minutes, so it weren't the end of the world. The kids just chilled, I chilled, it was no big deal. Couple of improvements we could have made there. One, maximize that time in the morning, having a lie-in, or even thinking you're getting there for 9-10 o'clock and you'll still have a full day. That time checking in will eat up a couple of hours before you know it. So if you can, get up early, get the check-in in the quiet times. The real driver for us on checking in at that time and going to the hotel was what do we do with our luggage? So you've a couple of options here. Well, 3 options, but only really 2 if you're staying in a hotel. Because the reason it's relevant if you're staying in a hotel is because you need your magic passes. So if you're in a hotel, you've got 2 real options. 1, go to the hotel, check in, drop your luggage off in the left luggage, or 2, get the express luggage. The express luggage is wildly expensive. It was €160 for us. So, and what express luggage is, they will pick up your luggage at the train station and give you your magic passes, and then that's the checking in process. And then checking out, they will do the opposite in return and leave your luggage at the train station ready for your departure. So the checking in process for us was to the hotel, check in, then go to left luggage. I think that worked well. We should have got there earlier. The other key point to note is, if possible for your group, leaving your luggage is not directly connected to checking in. So you can, Daddy, me, could have gone off and dropped our luggage off while Mummy, Aoife, was checking in, but we didn't know that the two processes were independent. So I thought you check in, get a room number, go and leave your luggage based on that room number. Not the case. You can just go and drop your luggage off while someone else is checking in. Extremely useful tip, because we did them in a linear fashion and added 20 minutes, half an hour onto our checking in process. There is left luggage at the train station at Disney. Don't know anything more about it. We didn't use it. Wasn't gonna work for our group. Didn't want to pay the express luggage drop-off pickup charge, which I don't think we need. I don't think we lost anything by having to nip back to the hotel to grab our luggage on the return journey, because Newport Bay, Marvel, I don't know about the other ones, we're literally a 5 to 10 minute walk back to the park. And if I'd have paid €80 to have that luggage dropped off at the train station, I would have very much not been happy about that. So that particularly, I hope, is useful for you. The other big thing I wanted to daddy debrief on was the magic hours. So everyone's got an opinion on what the best thing to do with magic hours are. Beyond question, magic hours are critical in the park. One thing I can say that you will hear on multiple other videos is, don't visit Peter Pan in the magic hours. It's just as busy then at any other time of the day. So would completely agree with that. What we found excellent in magic hours was over on Buzz Lightyear and Autopia. The Star Wars area, the Star Wars area, you can basically walk around the queue with completely unencumbered when we were there in January. So probably not in the best position to offer great advice about magic hours, because when we were there, the queues weren't terrible for anything. But definitely maximise them. Whatever you do, do not miss that opportunity. Speaking of opportunity, Sunday night. So we rocked up Sunday morning, through all of our check-in and luggage that I've just told you about. I'd say we were in the park by 11 o'clock. And the Sunday it closes at 10, even at that time of year. I think that might have been the last weekend that it closed at 10. Infinitely more valuable than magic hours was that Sunday evening hours. 6 o'clock, the park was empty. We were walking through the queue for the Spider-Man ride. We were walking through the queue for basically everything in Disney Studios. That night was by far, in my mind, our best night in the park. So that Sunday night, if you're planning on going in January, that last weekend before it goes to the winter opening hours, that Sunday night is worth its weight in gold. Other point that I thought was worth mentioning was the food package. So we ummed and ahed about the food package, and you will see no end of cogitation online about the Disney food package. Is it worth it? Is it not? Blah, blah, blah. If, like me, the thought of parting with large sums of money multiple times a day will take some of the Disney magic away, I would significantly recommend getting the food package. It's convenient. If you plan your food eating times well, the breakfast and dinner package will feed you for the day. If you go into the and if you don't do this, if you don't use the food package, and you eat in the fast food places, or the, what do they call them, quick serve places, it's not disgustingly expensive, but the food's not as good, you don't get as much, and again, you know, you're just parting with large sums of money multiple times a day, and if you're there for multiple days, that feeling of, oh, there goes another 60, there goes another 80, it starts to impact on the joy of the experience. So on that basis, I would highly recommend the Disney food package. And yeah, it was half board, and I'm fairly sure it doesn't work out much more expensive. And I mean, this is the part of the video where Disney contact me and say, please never return to Disney, because what we did was took breakfast early doors, get in there early doors. It's busy, but the service is phenomenal. You'll never queue, because it's buffet style, absolutely excellent, really well organized. But we then took some of the food that we'd bought and paid for and were entitled to, few extra, maybe an odd apple or a cheese and ham croissant, and took that with us in a day bag. Had a snack around maybe 11-12 o'clock, because don't forget you're having breakfast at 7 a.m, 7:30 to get your magic hours in. So we then snacked in the queue, literally stood in the queues for things while snacking, and then had our dinner arrangements for 4:15, 4:30 each day, and that then fed you through to bedtime. So strategically utilizing the food package is both convenient, gets you access to the better food. The food in the restaurants is definitely a better quality than the quick serve stuff, and saves you, like, literally, we purposely didn't let our kids into retail on every day, every shop they walk past. But if you have the food plan and you do a bit of preparation, you could literally leave your debit card at home, and that was a huge, for me, Daddy Disney Debrief, that was a huge improvement. Mummy Disney Debrief, when Daddy's paying, probably may have a different recommendation, but for me that was the biggest save, because at the time paying for it I was like, oh my god, 500 quid for food for 4 days, what world are we living in? But when we got there, it did make a huge difference, and I concede that to the missus or anyone else who's having this debate with their partner. So that was unbelievably helpful. The other thing we took to complement our breakfast snacks was I lifted a ton of stuff in Paris before we got to Disney. So crisps, chocolate bars, just multi-packs out of a supermarket, like, you know, 20 quid's worth of chocolate lifted in Paris translates to 60 quid's worth of snacks in Disney. And I think we got caught out for drinks once, and I had to buy a bottle of Coke that was about €4.50, which we freaking shared round, because it just takes the joy off it. So that's food, snacks, hotel check-in, luggage, arrival, magic hours.
Character dining?
Right, character dining. So, I could be wrong here, I concede it, but character dining, we had to pre-book, fine. The missus managed to grab a slot. Sorry, I'm going to divert off here. You can sign up online to a email that will email and alert you when restaurants become available, because
DLP tables, isn't it?
Yeah, DLP tables, because they say book 2 months in advance. 2 months in advance, 2 weeks in advance, 2 hours in advance. It's pure fluke whether you got to get a table in the restaurants you want, because you're competing with people who are well organised, not us. You're competing with us who aren't organised at all and just snatch up the tables that come available as they release more from Disney. People who cancel and looking for cancellations. By all means, try and book your tables in advance, but that is a game of chess. What I would recommend there is book something so you have it off your to-do list, and just occasionally check what comes available. Don't obsess over it. The restaurants are all good. Chez Remy was on our list. We didn't get it, but we did have a good nosy around it when we went on Ratatouille, and I wasn't heartbroken that we didn't get it. I will come on to our restaurants that we did get in a minute. Character dining. So you're in Disney, you want to do the characters, I get it. We had to go into Plaza Gardens for our character dining. Plaza Gardens is a part of your food package. Fine, there's a €15 for adults and 15 for adults and 12 for kids. That's the top up. You'll struggle to find that on the internet. Here it is. You heard it here first on Daddy's Disney Debrief. That's the cost of upgrading. But what you will also not know is that the cost of breakfast in Plaza Gardens isn't covered by the value of your food voucher. So whilst on the face of it you might think I'm just about to have to part with an extra 40 odd euro, what you'll actually have to part with for a family of 2 adults and 2 kids for character dining, for the exact same breakfast you get in every other restaurant, an extra 70 odd euro, 78 euro. Was it worth it? Hard to say. I don't like sitting on the fence. 78 euro for breakfast for, I said to the kids, you're up there to that buffet 3 times no matter what. My little boy, he's only 7, who had been up twice, and he was like, Daddy, I'm too full to go up. Do I have to go a 3rd time? And then I realised they'd taken my sarcastic joke seriously, so don't make that mistake. Was it worth it? Up to you. Depends how you feel about 78 quid for some croissants and cheese for breakfast along with the Disney characters, but in and of itself, I feel like that extra cost, you need to know it walking in, because when you stood there, there's a queue behind you. You've been lucky enough to get a booking for character dining. I found it quite stressful at the front door being asked for 78 euro for breakfast with the characters, but look, there we're at. That was character dining for you. Other restaurants, we got Captain Jack's, good food, very middle of the road. Wasn't blown away. They've got, whatever they've done, they've got a really, really impressive sound deadening arrangement, because I think they don't want the diners hearing the people on the ride, because you look down onto the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and they also don't want the diners being too noisy and disturbing the magic of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. What that translates to, though, is a very dead atmosphere in Pirates of the Caribbean restaurant. Bearing in mind, the table booking we got was the last available table in that restaurant in that time, and it was quiet for one, but it was just so low on atmosphere. We did Plaza Gardens for one of our evening meals. Excellent, really good food, such a choice. The evening meals infinitely better than the breakfast. Nothing to complain about there. I definitely wouldn't feel hard done by not getting one of the more popular or themed restaurants if you got Plaza Gardens, in terms of value for money and feeding your kids and your family. Really handy to get to. No hesitation in recommending Plaza Gardens. And then the other one we got was in the hotel.
Yacht Club.
Yeah, the Yacht Club. So what was nice about the Yacht Club was it was our last night, and instead of almost always being on the move, when you're in the park, you're on the move. You're eating and you're sitting down for a meal, but you're also thinking, okay, we're X hours towards the park closing. Okay, we need to get this doing. We still want to do that. We still want to do this. There's a parade at this time or whatever. Whereas the Yacht Club we went to, and we all went back took off our gear, put a change of clothes on because we'd been in like our outdoor clothes that we'd been in the park in all day, and it was nice to have a proper restaurant, and it was table service, and it was like being in a proper restaurant. Yeah, you've got wine, and the kid, it was just a nicer meal. So again, definitely would not have any hesitation in recommending booking one of your meals out of the park in the restaurant, particularly if you're there for a few nights and you just get a bit Disneyed out by the kind of, even though the food's good, it's still fast food and whatever.
And if you ask our 7-year-old, the highlight of the whole trip, it was the dessert at the yacht club.
So the dessert at the yacht club, again, how was this not told in the thousands of videos that we've watched? You order the yacht chocolate dessert, and you actually go up to a chef, and you can decorate. The kids decorate it with flags and cream and, you know, whatever other gloopy, sugary stuff they have for decorating desserts, and it was so much fun. And the chef was great with the kids, and it was like our 11-year-old she had a long face on because she didn't order the yacht, but it was good. Definitely recommend that. I think I don't know how long this video is, probably everyone's bored to tears by the end of it, but I've got 2 things left. Again, you might think, how did they not know this? But on your magic hours, when you come into the park, you will see a gigantic queue of people trying to get into the park. We stood there for 5 minutes thinking, crikey, this is wild. How is this queue? Look over to your right hand side and there's an entrance for people with hotel passes. Just a basic piece of knowledge that you just need to have before you go. So off to the right and you'll breeze through, have your magic passes ready, and away you go. Tiny tip on getting in, you don't actually need to put your magic pass in contact with the scanner. Just pinch it between your fingertips like a little kind of credit card and hold it above the scanner. Like, the amount of people struggling to scan their tickets was mind-boggling. Just pinch the card, scan it, and walk through the freaking barrier. It's unbearably simple and unbelievably frustrating watching people unable to hold a credit card near a scanner. Last tip from us, we went in January. I would definitely recommend going at that time of year, but bring waterproof clothing. Like, prepare yourself for going as if you're going on a hike. So we all had I wore hiking boots, the kids and the missus all had their snow boots. I had waterproof trousers, just hiking waterproof trousers, so that was it. The missus had the same. The kids had waterproof over trousers, and my son had like a full waterproof ski suit, and then layers, waterproof top, something with a hood. That is so essential, because every time it rained, the queues got empty. We were ready for the rain based on attending Disney in January, so it's kind of shocking to see people walking around in fashion wear that was clearly not in the slightest bit suitable for the rain, but that worked to our benefit. So prep for the weather that you're going to have. That's my final tip, and probably the tip from the top. Nobody was miserable, nobody got sore feet, nobody got cold.
Only one of us had UTI.
Yeah, only one of us managed to get illness, which was the missus. I think she got that on the way to Disney. But yeah, it's great to have fashion wear and feel like you're dressed up for a great special occasion. When you get into Disney, you realise you're one of multiple thousands of people, and not one of them are looking at what you're wearing. I actually had a bright, high-vis, reflective Pinnacle jacket that I wear for cycling on, which again, I was saying to the missus, maybe I get a new waterproof coat before we go, but I'm sick of buying jackets for various sports or days out or whatever it is, so I said I'd take the Pinnacle one. And what also is very handy about that is you're so easy to see. Like, my little boy was in a red ski suit, you could see him a mile off. My girl was in she had a Muddy Fox waterproof on, you could see her a mile off. Just so handy. And that waterproof gear, particularly integrated waterproof gear, where you're not having to on and off. You're just kind of in it. It's comfortable. It's warm. Massive impact on the 4 days, and it really allowed attending in the off season in January when it's quieter to be completely enjoyable. In fact, arguably more enjoyable than when it's baking hot in the summer. So I think that concludes the Daddy Disney debrief.
Rides, solo rider.
Yeah.
No, the parent swap.
Oh, parent swap. Oh, how did I miss that? So parent swap is mission critical. It's called rider switch. If you are taking a child on a ride, so live example, I took my 11-year-old on to Big Thunder Mountain. My missus wanted to go on Big Thunder Mountain but was away in the park, like a council park anywhere in the country, but he loved it in Adventureland, Frontierland. I rode, jumped off. As you're on the exit side of the ride, say, "May I have a rider switch ticket, please?" There was never any grilling, questioning, issue whatsoever. Got a rider switch ticket, which gave a ticket for 2 riders to use the priority queue, and then my wife would go on with my daughter or whatever other combination of people you have, up to 2 people, to do the rider switch, so everyone's not queuing. That made our experience also, can't believe I forgot it, massively important piece of information. And again, I think I might have heard of it on one independent reviewer video, but that should be splashed across every piece of advice. It really makes such a difference, particularly on the big queuing rides. We used it on Big Thunder Mountain. We used it on Crush's Coaster when my daughter got right to the front of the queue and then had a complete meltdown and my wife had to step out. And then she got a rider switch, and then my daughter settled down and went back around. So it was actually the same 2 people that had queued that went and used the rider switch, but it doesn't have to be the case. So rider switch, if you're going with a mixed age group or a mixed thrill seeking group, or a young kid, whatever, rider switch all the way. I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else. Like I say, you can watch, I mean, this video is probably 20 minutes now, half an hour. You can watch hours of videos on Disney and leave without those basic few facts that are going to help with your planning, your decision making, and your general readiness for a trip to Disney. So hopefully this has been useful. I imagine about 10 people will watch it, but I'm glad to have got it off my chest, and I'll put it up on YouTube. Cool. Oh, what I should say is, if you're ever visiting Fermanagh, come and stop in our B&B, Willowbank House.
I should have said that at the start when people were still watching.
Yeah, should have said it at the start. If you get to the end of this video, you can have 10% off. Just reference Daddy's Disney Debrief. Bye!